Hey, greetings, my fellow members of the Next Ridge Games Homebrew that I run every 2 weeks. We just ran a game last week, as you can see by the, well, over here, well, there. There. Got it. Whew, this is still new to me. Who showed up? Joe David Cox, Edward Anderson, Travis Smith Sr., and Travis Smith Jr. showed up. Carlos can no longer seem to join us because of his work schedule, but that's okay. We'll try to figure a way. Eventually, he'll be able to join us again. And then Virginia started a job and it was unable. Hopefully, we'll have some more players join us soon. The background is going to be changing shortly behind me because next time I do an update, they'll be at sea. Basically, they got an interview with the wizard that runs the Thieves and Assassins Guild and pretty much runs that town. They are had a couple of situations come up. They agreed to let go of the one book that they found in the Pharaoh's tomb that had how to raise dead, bring back undead, all that kind of stuff in it, that the mage wants to destroy and wants to make sure they have the knowledge, but no one else. And in order to get the sword destroyed, since the original corruption has still an entity that's trying to possess all that was actually done when the original cleric cleansed the sword was to remove the attunement, but not necessarily destroy the soul within the sword. So that sword is still a very dangerous artifact, and they've been told that they have to go to an island that has a volcano. Although everyone thinks the volcano has exploded, there's still a hot source there, and drop the sword into the volcano. It's the only thing that would finally separate the sword from the individual possessing that sword, the soul of the evil that possesses that sword. It'll destroy both at the same time. But they are also told that there's a dragon on the island, and no one comes back that ever goes. After this, they were told that in order to assist them, because this wizard, in a female form at this point, desires that the sword be destroyed, and that they complete their quest and destroy all of the undead in the world, of this particular world, has agreed to supply them with one of her ships, a crew, and provisions to get them there. What they do when they get there, what they explore on that island, I've got a lot planned for them, and including a lot between the port and the actual landing on the island. It's an interesting situation. I'll explain a little bit later. But in the meantime, I was going to run a game for another friend of mine and her boyfriend and some other friends that got cut short. They pretty much told me not to bother coming over because they had change of plans. And I had created a really nifty encounter where a woman would come into the tavern that the party was in and beg for help because her little child was stolen and taken and is going to be eaten by this wicked witch in the marshes and the marshes or the swamps near her home. The party immediately jumped on an opportunity for a fight, since although they received a lot of experience points for handling the wizard and not turning that into a 2-hour fight, a slugfest that they would have lost, they have an idea of what actually is going on, and some political things have also changed as well. The story was all based around a third level nag and six total orcs, one shan man, and 5 thugs that were going to give the party a royal rumble of sorts. It was something that I really designed as more of a search and rescue, but not actual fight situation for the party that I was originally going to run through it. But it's full enough so that this higher level party had absolutely no problem, which they truly had no problem, since none of the individuals in the one of the orcs got an attack in, but all the others were dead long before. Anyone, the rest of them, including the hag, had a chance to react. It was a quick kill for the party. Uh, I was never happier than to see how quickly they recognized the threat and took care of it. They actually rescued the young lady, or actually, the fireball killed her too, but the cleric revivified her and then gave her enough hit points to bring her back alive and cure her by the time they got back and reunited her with their mother. Then they got their mother a job, the girl's mother, a job in town since her husband had disappeared long before, probably trying to, along with the rest of her other community, to kill the hag, not knowing it was a hag. So they got her a job, and the next day, or that evening, as they were resting after being gone for 2 days, they were told that the next morning their ship would be ready for them. And during the night, the alarm bells went off inside the town. Everybody was woken up. They maybe got 2 hours of rest before the alarms went on, and then everything broke loose. Someone had rang the alarm, and the alarm everyone thought was because of that red dragon that's been circling about 150 miles away. That they can see that red fire in the night sky and in the daytime sky at times as the dragon circles his mountain protecting his horde. And they thought the dragon was on their way. Well, one of the Ed's character, Riki, the Kinku, uh, rogue assassin, was able to use his superior eyesight to scout around and see that there was no threat coming toward the town. And basically, he and the lead member of the Thieves Guild, that was their contact, both believed it was a false alarm raised by a panicking individual. So it was interesting that they got back, they got their sleep. Next morning, none of them were exhausted when they boarded the boat as they set sail. It wasn't long after they set sail that the cleric walked by an open hatch and his automatic detection of undead went off. He quickly discovered that the 200 or so oarsmen on board this triene were actually zombies under control of a gnome necromancer on board the ship, who was the ship's navigator. A feisty little jolly purple haired female gnome that hit on immediately on Joe's Dimble, the cleric, and Travis's senior's druid, both who got seasick. Uh, Dimble didn't make it, but Travis kept her quite occupied that evening. His little character, in a very interesting turn of events, and there's a little flirtation going on there, which brought a level of levity to the group. And they're on their way. I promised them that they would have a bunch of sea encounters. Gonna probably roll up 4 as they go there, 2 for every of the 2 adventures before they get to the island. It's gonna take them about a week of travel time, and I'm gonna make that week take 2 4-hour sessions. That's my goal. It will depend on how they do. Hopefully, I have 8 random encounters, and I'll break them up with the first 4 for the first 2 days, roll twice. The second 4 for the next time we meet, roll twice for the encounters. And hopefully they won't get the really nasty ones, because I did put some nasty ones in there in both sets that would test their mettle and at sea. It's going to be the first time I run a sea encounter of any kind. So it's going to be interesting. I got to read up on all the rules. And I'm hoping that this encounter goes well for the group entirely. It's got a lot of fun when it hasn't been a railroad, but it feels like a railroad in a lot of ways because they're pretty much the steps that they're taking. It's almost like I'm going to get to see the fruition of this campaign for the first time ever. I've tried this campaign before, but other people, when I ran it in 3.5, wouldn't take the bait, would not go into the desert, would not begin the push that they've done. But I'm hoping in the future this will change, and we will at least get a completion. That way I can then start on working on an entirely new module, maybe even the upcoming Tomb of Annihilation, and start everybody off at a low level and given an opportunity to experience the Tomb of Horrors by another name. That's all I have for you today. Glad to have had an opportunity to speak to you. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I hope that these are entertaining or at least informational to those that are subscribing to my channel. I hope more people are interested in subscribing. Thank you much. Have a good day.